Okay, and here we go. All right, so question number 1, Rebecca is structuring the requirements to ensure all requirements form a single whole that supports overall business objectives and produce meaningful outcome for the stakeholders. Which of the following would not be a consideration for Rebecca? A, requirements allocation, B, requirements viewpoints and views, C, template architectures, D, completeness. Which would not be consideration? Okay, where's my chat?
I don't know
what. Yeah, okay, I just re-enabled the chat, so people should be able to chat now. All right, there you go. Thank you, Thea. So that's for question number 1. Michelle, EJ, and Brian, if you want to come off mute, then you can. Otherwise, feel free to type.
Do we know which task we're working on here? Because if we know which task it is, it helps us know what the considerations are, the elements are for that task.
Yeah, and you have more people joining us now. Thank you for joining. Welcome to the group. Welcome to the room. Hi, Mabel. Okay, so you all should see my screen, right? This is question number 1. And the question, good point, what task is this? Structuring the requirements.
I'm thinking this is part of specifying model requirements.
Yes, I agree.
And so if it is, that means we only have 4 elements that it could possibly be to get the right answer. And I could be wrong. Is it a different requirement? I mean, a different task?
I think, okay, it's been a while for me. I took the exam last year, so I think C and D are definitely part. And I want to say, well, all of these are elements of tasks of the knowledge area, but which is not part of specified model requirements task. That's a question. So I want to say A. I want to say A is not part of this task. Does anyone else think any differently? We gotta get somebody to answer from the audience.
So let me say this. This effort is you're only going to get so much out of it as you put into it. So if you don't even try to answer, if you're only listening, you're not going to get as much out as those who try to answer. It looks like Enrico is giving us a reference number, but not an answer.
Yeah. EJ, which is not part.
He thinks it's define requirements architecture instead of the first one.
Oh, okay. Structuring the
purpose of defined
Ah,
requirements architecture is to ensure that the requirements collectively support one another to fully achieve the objectives. Is that your reasoning, EJ? Okay.
yeah. Okay, so following that reasoning, what doesn't belong? A or C? A. Okay, and EJ agrees with me. All
Okay,
right, let's
let's
try
test.
it out. All right, there you go. Good start. Slow start, but it was a correct answer. All right, let's keep it going. You are assigned to a project to help re-engineer a bank statements processing. Another team member showed you this diagram of what he had modeled. He said the scope of the project is concentrated around the items shown. However, you are not familiar with this type of diagram. So account type. So I wonder if I can, maybe I need to zoom out for this one.
You
No,
can't.
doesn't
It
help.
doesn't do any better on it.
Okay, so just remember what's going on here. Okay, you got account number, date open, account balance, account type, which is foreign key, account type code, account type description, transaction ID, transaction date amount, statement, so on and so forth, transactions. So typical bank. A different team member questions a post transaction and report transaction attributes in the transaction box. What is the correct response? A, the other teammate is correct, and the two items are actually other classes related to the given class. B, the other teammate is correct, and the two items are probably misnamed attributes. C, the other teammate is incorrect because names below the line on the class diagram represent foreign keys. D, the other teammate is incorrect because names below the line on a class diagram represent operations.
You
Okay,
pretty
how
much
do
need to
you?
understand what a
Yeah.
class diagram does to answer this question correctly. So class diagram is a technique in chapter 10 that is referred to as being a technique that could be used for this task.
So questions the post transaction and report transaction attributes. So this is a box and questioning post transaction and report is it because okay.
So EJ says class attribute plus operation. Of which answer do we choose, EJ? It looks like he's choosing answer D. Operation.
Oh, okay. Post transaction report. Oh yeah, that's right. Actually, that makes sense. Is that what you were going for, EJ?
Let's test D and see if it's right.
Okay. I think so. All right. That's right. So
So the information in the box underneath the box in this diagram is a list of the operations that it's associated with. Okay,
right.
what's the second question on
we
this
we have another
scenario?
one. And number two, same thing. All right. So same scenario. The question is, the business expert wants to make sure that the statements can be produced at least monthly or quarterly. What do you tell her? A, you need to see other documentation to be sure. B, another type of model would be the one to dictate how often statements are produced. C, a business rule would state the timing of statement production. D, there's nothing in the model to limit how often statements are produced.
Okay, so let's look
Okay.
at the model to find out the statements.
Monthly or quarterly. So here's you have the statement. So I'm not seeing a relationship to time. So what do you guys think?
Those numbers on the lines are called cardinalities. And they give us some information. Do they give us the information we need? EJ says
Fate
0
just
to
joined
many.
us. Okay, 0 to many.
So which answer do we choose, folks?
EJ says C. A business rule would state the timing of statement production. Anyone
But the
else?
question isn't where can we find it? Does the model tell us? Go, see, the question says, well, the scenario says this is the information we have. So what is the answer regarding just having the model? Okay, let's try D.
Yeah. All right, thank you, EJ. And that is not correct. So the
Okay.
correct answer is A, you need to see the documentation to be sure. The documentation either is classified as metadata and would include what the entities represent, when and why they were created or changed, how they should be used, how often they are used, when and what, and by whom. So incorrect, this is true. The class diagram itself does not limit statement production, but there may be other documentation describing the timing and other constraints of how often statements are produced.
So the reason I push back against C is because it's specific to business rules. We needed a more broad answer. This, what we have isn't enough, but we need other documentation. The Babok, it doesn't say, go look at business rules. So now we know, we learned, let's move forward. Question 4.
Okay. What is the primary difference between requirements and designs? A, requirements are documented in models, at which point they become a design. B, requirements and designs are synonyms and can be used interchangeably. C, requirements are the responsibility of the BAs, designs are responsibility of design architects. D, depends how they are being used and by whom. Okay, this is number 4. Brian has a hand raised. Go ahead, Brian.
I'd go for letter D.
All right. Sounds
Thank
reasonable.
you, Brian.
Let's try that out. All right, correct. What are the inputs for the verify requirements task? A, requirements in transition, B, requirements signed off, C, requirements validated, D, requirements specified and modeled.
So the verify requirements task has a very limited number of inputs. In fact, it's only one. The previous task is specify and model requirements. So what do we have for this task?
Okay, we have EJ and Michelle. They both agree on letter D. Thank you, EJ and Michelle. That is correct. Exactly. All right. Number 6, which of the following statements is true about specifying and modeling requirements? A, business requirements must be specified and modeled before any other type of requirements. B, different types of requirements might be specified and modeled at the same time. C, transition requirements are always specified and modeled last. D, only stakeholder requirements and solution requirements can be specified at the same time. Okay, that's number 6. So what's true? So you wanna eliminate the bad choices here, right? Which one looks like the worst?
Brian, we're getting background noise from you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Specify and model requirements.
This question is a little tricky because it looks like from A, if you do business requirements, is it all the business requirements that must be specified and modeled, or just some of the business requirements that must be specified and modeled? But I personally like C.
Oh, okay. I would have gone for, I like B.
Tell me why you like B.
Different types of requirements might be specified and modeled at the same time. It just seems like the safer choice.
Sounds bad.
Where,
Like
where
it
C
doesn't.
is, where C is like saying
You
always.
got another B also, so let's try B.
Okay, okay. Let's see. All right. The citation
Correct.
results contain information of different types, so it is natural to expect that different types of requirements might be specified at the same time. Although I see where you're
Sure.
coming from, find out where you're going and how you're getting there,
Right. You gotta figure out where you are, where you're going, and then how you're getting there.
how to
is the
get
third
there.
step.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you chose B. And I'm glad you spoke up. And who else? Mabel, thank you for speaking up also. Michelle, thank you.
Okay. All right. The following are guidelines and tools under the validate requirements task, which is not. A, future state description, B, potential solution, C, business objectives, D, solution scope. Okay. It's number 7, which is not
So validate
considered.
requirements task has 4 different guidelines and tools. Which one of these is not one of the 4? I've got an answer B, potential solution.
Okay. I think we can try that. Anyone else? Oh, we have 2
Got
Bs.
2
We have 2
Bs.
Bs. Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. Yep. Good job.
You guys are the superheroes. Thank you so much.
What state or status should the requirements be in to serve as an input to the define requirements architecture task? A, they can be in any state or status. B, approved. C, confirmed. D, verified. So in defining requirements architecture. So for fate, it's D, verified.
Now check the inputs to the define requirements architecture task.
Okay, EJ says it's A, we need a tiebreaker, or one of you speak up. So Fate says they gotta be verified. EJ says they can be in any task. Brian says A, that's the tiebreaker. Thank you. All right, there you go. Okay. A model is a descriptive and visual way to convey information to a specific audience in order to support analysis, communication, and understanding. What would a business analyst typically model? A, requirements and solutions. B, requirements and design. C, needs and requirements. D, needs and solutions. I think we already got the answer from a previous question. What's the name of the task? What do you model?
So maybe we should talk about which task this is.
Okay, so Brian says it's B, so does EJ. All right, we got 2. Let's check that. Oh, it's unanimous. All right, good job, guys.
Yes.
Sandy has been hired as the lead business analyst in an ongoing project. The outgoing lead handed her a set of requirements for the initiative that were already documented and modeled. What task might Sandy do next? A, define solution scope. B, define design options. C, accept requirements. D, verify requirements.
So the question says that the first task, specifying model requirements, has been done. So this is asking what the second task is.
Okay, Brian says D, and so does EJ. You guys are getting faster. All right,
Yeah, I
correct.
applaud you speaking up.
Good job. Okay, you have interviewed key stakeholders, uncovered their business needs. You have become aware of many factors that the stakeholders think are true. but which have not been verified. You decide to document which of the following: A to B, processes; B, assumptions; C, constraints; D, requirements. So stakeholders think they're true, not yet verified.
That is the definition of what answer? We've got an A, we've got a D and a D.
Okay. So D, you decide. Okay, yeah, I see what you're thinking. That's incorrect. For the Babok, a requirement is or a usable representation of a need that is known. I know why this is throwing you off, because you're looking at the first sentence, right?
Mhm.
So you're trying to say, well, you're doing this, and you're trying to think that this is like a distraction. So but the right answer to this question is actually, well, this is not the distraction, this is the actual question. A little bit tricky,
So
this one.
assumptions are a huge danger for business analysis. In fact, we call them our cardinal sin. You can't make assumptions, and when people are making assumptions, they very often believe something to be true, and they won't even tell you that's a requirement. They just believe it. You have to document it and get it verified to identify, is it an assumption or is it a requirement or a business rule?
Yeah. Okay. Still not bad so far. 11 out of, oh, only 3 wrong answers rather. Okay. In what task are requirements allocated to a solution component or a release? A, define design options; B, verify requirements; C, specify and model requirements; D, analyze potential value and recommend solution. It's number 12. Okay, Ryan says it's A, defining design options. And so does EJ, thank you. That's right. Good job. You are reviewing the requirements with your sponsor and customer. While examining the requirements, they note some minor quality problems you need to fix. What task have you just completed? A, verify requirements; B, perform quality assurance; C, perform quality control; D, validate requirements. So minor quality problems. And you're doing it with your sponsor and customer. This is number 13. We have a couple of A's. Good job. While analyzing elicitation results and creating representations of those results, which set of activities will a business analyst typically be engaged in? A, model requirements; analyzing requirements; representing requirements and attributes; implementing the appropriate levels of abstractions. B, modeling requirements, analyzing requirements, representing requirements and attributes, analyzing potential value. C, modeling requirements, analyzing requirements, defining design options, implementing the appropriate levels of abstraction. D, modeling requirements, defining requirements, architecture, representing requirements and attributes, implementing the appropriate levels of abstraction.
So the easiest way to answer this is identifying which task you're on. So identify which task this is. In RAD, which one is this we're working on? Because this list is literally the elements of that task. You don't have to guess. You don't have to try to figure it out.
Right. And you need to be memorizing
It's
the
7.1.
elements.
Yes, very good. So 7.1 is specified model requirements. These are the elements of specified model requirements. So which one is the correct answer?
EJ says it's A. All right. And so does Michelle.
2 A's.
Let's go with that. All right. That's right. Those are the elements. Good job. As a business analyst, you are given the following elicitation information. The database shall support the generation and control of configuration objects, and the objects are themselves groupings of other objects in the database. Why would decomposing the above information be critical? Well, why would decomposing the above information be critical to
you? Their English
Okay.
is not that great.
A, information decomposition should be avoided as it takes more time and may lead to project delay. B, information decomposition would help identifying anything that must change or not change to meet business need or any missing components. C, information decomposition would prove that the business analyst is well experienced and this would give the stakeholders confidence. D, information decomposition does away with all assumptions that it is done on the actual project. Okay, so basically, what's information decomposition? Okay, B helps identify for EJ. Anyone else? Okay. Well, I think we can try B. All right, good job, EJ. You just created stakeholder and solution requirements. What task did you just finish? A, specify model requirements. B, structure requirements. C, prioritize requirements. D, verify requirements. Okay, A for Michelle. Specifying model requirements. Okay, let's go with that. Good job, Michelle. Okay, number 17. Which of the following requirements does not meet the characteristics of a quality requirement? A, bond prices will be viewable and sortable by maturity date, length of security, yield, and rating. B, the system shall read the tracking database and feed the bond prices to the web database using XML. C, the system shall provide a maintenance function for correcting any missing data. D, the system shall display bond prices using 3 decimal places instead of fractions. So what are the characteristics of quality requirements.
So let's talk about why each one of those is good or not. I like D. It's very specific. You know exactly what you're supposed to be testing for. C seems a little hard, a little challenging. How do you test for it has a maintenance function?
Mhm.
B, shall read a tracking database, feed the bond prices to the web database using XML. Oh, I don't like B because it's telling us what technology to use. And in the real world, sometimes we have to do that. But according to the Babok, we want it to be absolutely not, we want it to be ambiguous as to the technology or the language or the application that they choose to implement our requirement with.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I guess when you're talking about technology, or that's more an approach already rather than requirement, right?
Yeah. And whenever you're developing software, sometimes you have to talk about the approach. You know, you're pulling it from this table and you're using these fields and you know, the API is going to do X, Y, and Z. But according to the Babok, we don't do that in requirements. So let's test that.
Okay. That is right. Exactly. A senior business analyst was providing, yeah, you guys got a freebie. But EJ also
Well, we
said
had an
B.
answer. Yeah, we had an answer.
Um, a senior business analyst was providing advice to a new business analyst and recommended using a matrix for the requirements modeling format. What is the purpose of this type of format? A, to convey a set of requirements that have a complex but uniform structure that can be broken down. B, to provide an easy way for the business analyst to model the requirements. C, to clearly describe the requirements in an active voice. D, to create a visual representation of the set of requirements. So, why would you use a matrix? And EJ says it's A. Let's check that out. Yes, that's exactly what it's for. Okay. Elicitation results contain information of different types. Therefore, as part of specifying requirements, they can be categorized into one of the following categories. Which one is not one of the Babok categories? A, technical requirements. B, transition requirements. C, stakeholder requirements. D, solution requirements. Which is not a Babok. Okay, EJ got it. Wow, EJ, you're on your game. All right. Specifying and modeling requirements is a task in which of the following knowledge areas: A, strategy analysis. B, solution evaluation. C, requirements analysis and design definition. D, elicitation and collaboration. Which knowledge area are we talking about today? All right,
We've got
EJ
an answer.
says
C.
red. All right. Thank you, EJ. All right. Kevin wants to model the rationale or the why of a particular change. Which technique might he use to accomplish his task? A, scope modeling. B, process modeling. C, user stories. D, stakeholder list map, or personas. So which of these techniques give you the why?
So 3 of these techniques give you a lot of information, but only one of them ends with the why. We've got a C and C. We've got 2 C's.
All right, thank you guys.
Oh no.
I would have guessed C as I was sure it was C.
I
But
was sure it was
apparently
C. In fact, I'm gonna turn this in as this question needs to be improved. Because user stories end with a why. Scope modeling does not end with a why, but according to the Babok, it's why. They need to change the question though, so that we can get this right.
Okay. Okay, yeah, this is
I
interesting.
did a screenshot of it. I'll send it in to them.
Okay, thank you.
Watermark needs to improve a few of their questions, and it's up to us kind of to point them out to them. And they said they would, so we're good.
Okay, appreciate that. Okay. Will has been responding to several questions. Well, with all their imperfections, everyone that I know that has taken a watermark exam and passed the practice test also was able to pass the CBAP itself. So it's still worth it even with imperfections. All right.
The watermark questions are harder than the test questions. If you can make it through this and be vocal and answer the questions and check to see if your knowledge is correct, you're going to pass the test. I'm confident. Prove me right. Okay.
All right. Well, Will has been responding to several questions about the solution requirements from confused developers. What is the most likely cause of the confusion? A, Will neglected to include the developers in modeling efforts, so we're trying to catch up. B, the requirements were seemingly ambiguous and so most likely weren't verified. C, the requirements were not validated before handing them over for development. D, the developers were just assigned to the project and haven't reviewed requirements and design documentation.
Which is the best answer according to the Babok?
So for EJ, it's B. For Brian, it's A. We need a tiebreaker. Or one of you explain. Although EJ does have a reference. B, we have a tiebreaker. Thank you. Okay. So not every process analyzed will be transformed by a software solution. So processes that are flagged in the design plan as not being a candidate for automation will not undergo further elaboration during the technical design. With that premise, which of the following statements is not true? A, the business analyst will have decomposed and modeled the process and identified new procedures. B, the business analyst should present recommendations to the appropriate project stakeholders to determine if proposed improvements should be considered for implementation. C, the business analyst should refrain from documenting recommendations to transform the process that are outside the scope of software automation. D, the business analyst and the process owner may have determined new manual steps that may streamline and improve the current process. Excuse me. Okay, so which is not true.
I don't like
Anyone?
C.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and so is EJ. All right, let's check that out.
Yeah.
All right, that's right. The business analyst should consider documenting recommendations. For example, simplify the work people perform by re-engineering or sharing processes, even though they are outside the scope. All right, so they may be impacted even though they're outside. Which of the following is a well-written requirement? A, Gene will have the capability of online purchase through the web business analysis system. B, user shall have to register, unregister, and if possible, deactivate the facility. C, after the order is physically shipped, it should be modified to ship status. D, the call center operator shall be able to view details of a protected household within 2 seconds of issuing a query, which is well written.
I like that one.
Sorry, which one?
When I look at well-written requirements according to the BABAC, I always look at it, how is it testable? If you wouldn't have any questions about how it's testable, because you have all the information in there, according to the BABAC, it's a good requirement.
Okay. Anyone?
Are you guys still on?
Oh, we have some feedback. Brian saying I'm torn between C and D. Michelle saying C, EJ is saying D. Brian, you gotta break the tie.
Well, let's talk about them. Why is C better than D, or why is D better than C? EJ likes D because there's a time constraint and an SLA. That's pretty specific.
Okay. Why would C be better?
The reason I don't like C is because after the order is physically shipped, how long after? Is it immediately after, within 5 minutes after? And it should be modified to ship status how?
Right.
In you know, where?
And it leaves out the user completely. So I agree. Let's
Test it.
go with D. Good job, guys. One more question. Hey, I think this is the highest score we've gotten this whole time.
Good.
All right. Associations interfaces between the actor and the use case captured in the use case diagram are shown through A, ovals, B, stick figures, C, arrows, D, lines. So associations between the actor and the use case captured in the use case diagram. And that's D. All right. Yeah. Good job.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is a definite high score. Well, I'd have to double check, but I think the previous high score was 80%.
So those of you who provided answers, you earned the score. I commend you for being involved and active.
Yeah,
And if you found areas that you are a little weaker, you know exactly what to go look for. You know what area to study. So this was beneficial for you. So, Nino, what are we going to do next week?
we are moving on to solution evaluation next week. In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Yes, in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. So good job, guys. Way to bounce back. And yeah. Have a good rest of your evening and morning, wherever you are. And Theo, if you want to stay on
Sure.
for a few minutes. All right.
I'm happy to.
All right.
Everybody else, see you later.
Bye, guys.
Okay, you want to stop the recording?
Yes. Where is that? Stop recording. There you go.